They used to say greatness announces itself loudly, that you could see it in the glamour, the headlines, the spotlight burning from the very first day. But sometimes greatness whispers first. Sometimes it begins in the quiet, where only the determined can hear it, and only the brave keep chasing it. This is the story of a kid from Whitley Bay who refused to be overlooked. A midfielder who traded shadows for stadium lights, a talent many doubted, a journey many dismissed, and a rise few saw coming, until it was too late. This is the cinematic life of Elliot Anderson, the midfielder who fought the odds, silenced a Premier League giant, and now walks into football's future with fire in his eyes and destiny in his boots. Picture the early morning mist rolling across the North Sea coast, waves cutting through cold English air, and a young boy tying his boots on a muddy pitch, dreaming of roaring crowds instead of quiet suburb streets. While other kids wished, Elliot trained. While others rested, he repeated. Sharper touches, harder runs, stronger mindset, because the world wasn't going to hand him anything. Newcastle's academy would open the door, but even that wasn't enough for a boy who had to build respect brick by brick. There were no viral Wonder Kid headlines, no overnight fame, just hunger. He entered Newcastle's first-team training and something changed, not in the cheers, but in the silence. Senior players noticed his intensity, that controlled aggression, that northeast fire that reminded people of the club's past heroes. Coaches whispered. Fans began to talk. But even as hope grew, patience wore thin around him. Football can be cruel. Talent alone isn't enough. Some said he wasn't ready. Some doubted his ceiling. Some believed he would fade before he truly arrived. So he did the unthinkable. He left the Premier League bubble and went to League Two. Bristol Rovers. Cold nights, rough pitches, battles every minute. If football is a test, this was the exam many avoid. And yet he didn't just pass, he dominated. Goals, power, swagger, a spark that turned into a blaze. The loan spell that transformed him. Fans called him a star. Teammates called him a warrior. Rivals just knew one thing. If Elliot was on the pitch, trouble was coming. When he returned to Newcastle, he came back a weapon, stronger, sharper, hardened by the lower leagues, and the Premier League world began to see it. Cameos turned into starts, nervous touches turned into fearless drives forward. The noise around him grew. Wonder Kid, Jordi Maradona, future Newcastle icon. It felt like destiny, the hometown boy who would become a St. James's Park legend. But football, like life, doesn't follow scripts. In the summer of 2024, a shock move changed everything. $35 million Nottingham Forest. A massive fee, a new city, a bigger stage, and pressure that could crush or crown him. Critics called it a gamble. Some said Newcastle were wrong, others said Forest were desperate. Fans wondered if he could justify the weight of expectation. But Elliot Anderson didn't flinch. Reinvention isn't failure. It's fuel. In Nottingham, he didn't come to survive. He came to command. From his first touch in that famous red shirt, the energy shifted. Authority in his stride, purpose in every press, confidence that didn't need permission. By August 2024, the votes came in. Fans spoke loudly. Nottingham Forest Player of the Month, a debut season already taking shape. And then, that Premier League goal. Powerful and poetic. Southampton left stunned as the city ground roared. The moment many finally realized, this wasn't a promise, it was fulfillment. But football success is only one side of the story, because while his boots run the pitch, his life off it reflects something deeper. He isn't loud on social media. He doesn't chase cameras or headlines. His luxury is subtle, the kind that speaks quietly, like the confidence he carries. Yet make no mistake, the rewards are real. A rising salary touching Premier League young star levels, endorsements quietly growing, and a lifestyle evolving with each performance. From custom-tuned European cars to modern apartment living in Nottingham's elite zones, he's crafting a life that mirrors his football, grounded, controlled, stylish, and always moving upward. His circle remains small. Loyalty over lights, family over fame. Those who were there before the debut, before the headlines, before the transfer buzz, they still stand beside him. And that's the difference. In a game obsessed with noise, Elliot is powered by silence, the quiet discipline that builds legends behind closed doors, because you don't need to shout when your future speaks for you. His training isn't for pictures, it's for war. Hours in the gym sculpting power in his shoulders and control in his legs. Tactical analysis sessions sharpening his brain to Premier League speed. Technical repetition turning strength into sophistication. And in those sessions, teammates see what fans feel, that gravity when he plays, that way he carries the midfield, that belief that something special is building. And now, England has noticed too. The national setup watching, calling, integrating him. A player who once chose Scotland now walking into the Three Lions camp with the quiet confidence of a man who knows he belongs. Imagine that. From a League Two proving ground to the doorstep of the national team spotlight, all within a few seasons. That's not luck. That's destiny meeting discipline. But this is just the beginning, because Elliot Anderson isn't chasing fame. He's building a legacy, and the world is finally catching up to the work he has been doing in silence all along. Greatness doesn't arrive fully formed. It grows. In quiet mornings, in empty gyms, in sacrifices no one sees. And as the world began whispering Elliot Anderson's name, he doubled down in silence. Because when fame knocks, discipline answers. His mornings start before the city wakes, when Nottingham's streets are still washed in soft dawn light and ambition breathes louder than traffic. A private driver, or the calm hum of a sleek European SUV, subtle luxury not to be flaunted but to be earned. He arrives at the training ground not with noise, but with purpose. The grind begins long before the cameras arrive. Activation work, mobility, strength circuits. The iron bar clanks, the turf beneath his boots presses back, and sweat becomes the language of promise. Teammates nod. They feel his presence before he even touches a ball. Because you can't fake hunger. You can't pretend purpose. Elliot isn't chasing relevance. He's chasing excellence, and as his status grows, so do the rewards. Premier League wages stacking into investment accounts, smart financial advisors helping structure a future beyond football. Instead of impulsive spending, it's methodical, property, development conversations, long-term commercial positioning. Yes, the luxury is there, precision-engineered cars with the punch of German horsepower, the quiet prestige of a tailored wardrobe, minimalist designer apartments overlooking city skylines, but every choice reflects discipline, not excess. There's a humility in success when you remember the mud of academy pitches and the scraps of League Two battles. He hasn't forgotten. He never will. Nottingham isn't London, and that's exactly why he thrives here. No suffocating spotlight, no endless cameras, just pure football culture, passion, grit, loyalty. Forest fans don't demand celebrity. They demand commitment. They demand courage. And Elliot gives them that every game, every minute, every tackle. The city ground feels his heartbeat when he surges forward, when he snaps into challenges, when he shields the ball under pressure with that blend of strength and grace. He isn't just a midfielder. He's momentum in human form. Football respects those who respect the craft, and the whispers now turn into statements from pundits, scouts, former pros. This kid is different. Fearless. A leader in the making. Players with flash come and go, but players with purpose? They outlast trends, they carve legacies. And when the England setup called, it wasn't a surprise. It was timing. Timing that meets work ethic and produces destiny. Imagine the moment, the message, the handshake, the crest embroidered over the heart. He walks into the England camp with calm eyes but burning ambition. Surrounded by stars, he blends in. because he belongs. No wide-eyed nerves, no shrinking presence. He trains like he plays, chest forward, shoulders squared, touch tight, movements sharp. Every drill is an audition, every minute a chapter in a story still being written. Senior players notice the intensity. Coaches see a weapon. England isn't he just where he hopes to go. That's where he knows he's meant to be. But success isn't just trophies and call-ups. It affects every part of life. Brand managers reach out. Sports companies look his way. Lifestyle labels circle. There's talk about equity deals, not just endorsements. Because in the modern era, athletes aren't just players, they're brands. But Elliot isn't rushing. He picks partnerships the same way he picks his passes, intentionally, precisely, with clarity of vision. Home life reflects the same balance. Privacy is sacred. Friends are few but loyal. Family remains the foundation. Dinners at discreet restaurants, laughter at private tables, recovery nights at home with films and calm lighting, not clubs and flashing cameras. In a football world where attention is currency, Elliot Anderson's wealth is peace. But don't mistake his quiet for softness. There's steel in his smile, fire beneath his calm. When he steps onto the pitch, he transforms. Intensity radiates. His first touch sets the tempo. His press demands respect. His confidence forces opponents backward. Teammates draw strength from him. Opponents feel the weight of him. He plays like a man with something to prove and something to claim. There are rumors now, as always in football, whispers of admiration from top 6 clubs, analysts calling him one big season away from a blockbuster move, social media reels showing his tackles, his smooth turns, his fearless drives through midfield. Clips captioned with "Future Elite" and "Remember the name." He doesn't comment. He doesn't need to. Legacy isn't built in comments. It's built in actions. And soon people start noticing the lifestyle snapshots. An understated luxury timepiece glimpsed under a sleeve. A sleek black performance coupe in a gated residential parking bay. Training images in designer athleisure. A private wellness retreat weekend when fixtures allow. But everything remains elegant. The sophistication of someone who understands that the truly wealthy don't chase validation. They breathe confidence. Through it all, discipline remains his compass. Recovery protocols, cold therapy, nutrition tailored with care, sleep tracked and optimized. He's building a career designed to last, not flash and fade. Because Elliot Anderson isn't here for a moment. He's here for history. And before the world crowns him, he's already building the throne one performance, one training session, one disciplined morning at a time. This isn't hype, it's foundation. And thousands of young players now look at him, not the superstar born in spotlight, but the warrior carved from doubt, and realize something: it's not where you start, it's who refuses to settle. There's a moment in every athlete's life when the dream stops being a dream and becomes a responsibility. When you're no longer climbing just for yourself, but for everyone who ever believed, everyone who ever sacrificed, everyone who ever said, "Keep going." Elliot Anderson has reached that moment, not with arrogance, but with awareness. He feels the weight of expectation now, not as pressure, but as fuel. Because when destiny calls, you don't whisper back. You answer with work. And he does. See him after matches when fans have long left the stands. Floodlights hum, the stadium sleeps, but he doesn't. He walks the pitch slowly, replaying moments in his mind. The misplaced touch, the perfect sprint, the turn that created space, the pass that cut defenders like glass. The hunger isn't just to play well, it's to control the game, to define it, to be the heartbeat, the engine, the player that managers trust when everything is on the line. That's the mindset that separates the promising from the inevitable. In football, fame is loud. But greatness is quiet. It's the discipline to stay late while others go home, to train when no one is filming, to reject shortcuts, to study opponents instead of scrolling trends. His journey is proof. Some stars are born, others are built. And Elliot Anderson is building himself into something English football hasn't seen in a long time, a warrior with silk in his touch and steel in his soul. But off the pitch, life is expanding too. There's a subtle elegance to his world, evenings spent overlooking city skylines, a polished marble kitchen with soft lighting, a glass fridge stacked with performance nutrition. Not loud, not chaotic, controlled, intentional. And when the season pauses, there are escapes, not to paparazzi-filled islands, but to refined European getaways, private chalets in Switzerland, lakefront villas in Italy, quiet luxury where restoration meets ambition. The kind of places stars go not to be seen, but to become sharper. Yet even with success rising around him, the earnings, the attention, the new cars, the growing net worth, analysts estimating low seven figures and climbing, his roots stay strong. Home visits, family dinners, conversations with the same lifelong friends who saw him grind long before the world did. Loyalty is rare in modern sports culture, but for him, loyalty isn't negotiable. Because when your foundation is solid, your future can be skyscraper high. And then there's love. Private, guarded, protected from headlines. Happiness doesn't always shout. Sometimes it smiles in quiet corners, in simple restaurants, in long walks without phones, in knowing glances that say, "You're still you." The kind of relationship where success doesn't change the person, it strengthens them. Growth shared, not flaunted. This is the balance few young pros ever master, to chase greatness without losing the human underneath. That grounding is why coaches admire him, why teammates trust him, why fans connect with him. He isn't trying to be perfect, he's trying to be real and better every day. And the future? It feels inevitable. Pundits already talking, scouts circling, analysts hinting at a breakout season that could reshape the Premier League's midfield landscape. Rumors of elite clubs monitoring his progress. Conversations among England's staff about his long-term role. A path that could lead from Nottingham's roar to Champions League nights under glowing European lights. If football is chess, Elliot Anderson is the quiet piece that suddenly becomes unstoppable. But legacy isn't measured by trophies alone. It's in impact, in inspiration, in the way young boys and girls in Whitley Bay lace their boots now believing they can too. In the belief that humility and hunger can coexist, that fame isn't earned through noise, but through proof. One day he'll walk onto the pitch with 60,000 voices calling his name, cameras flashing like lightning, pundits analyzing every touch, expectations towering. And he'll smile, not because he's made it, but because he's still climbing. Greatness isn't a destination, it's a direction, and he's moving forward with every breath. For now, his nights end quietly. The hum of a luxury engine, the soft click of a modern apartment door, city lights glowing outside floor-to-ceiling windows. He sets his boots down, not as trophies, but as tools. Tomorrow they'll hit grass again. Tomorrow, sweat will fall again. Tomorrow he'll sharpen again. And that's the secret to Elliot Anderson. He isn't chasing the spotlight. He's building the man who will never fade from it. From muddy pitches to Premier League arenas, from whispered doubt to rising legacy, from silent grind to national pride, this is Elliot Anderson, not just a footballer, a blueprint, a reminder that true power doesn't roar, it grows. And then one day, the world realizes it can no longer look away. Elliot Anderson, remember the name not because it's loud, but because it lasts.